Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last part we reached Ecruteak City and now we're promptly leaving. While there's still a lot we have to do in Ecruteak City, I want to come over here to the east first to take care of some things, namely to show some things off for later down the road. Plus, we can find Shadow Claw, which is a decent ghost-type physical move that I won't be teaching to Mortis, but will be taught to someone down the line eventually. Oh, hello there.
Oh boy, sorry that I bumped into you. Did I hurt you? Please don't cry. Here, take this.
And we got Surf last part, but we already got our next HM, HM04.
It's a move called Strength. When a Pokemon learns it, it can move boulders out of your way.
Enjoy a happy mountain climbing life. The main reason I came over here first is to get Strength, frankly, because it's really good to get that before heading into the next storyline area we need to hit up. But now we're in Mount Mortar. This is a dungeon we cannot fully explore for a long time. But if you want to try and catch some Pokemon around here, most of the things you've already seen at this point, you can get Geodudes, Merrills, Zubats, Rattatas. You can get Machops here, and they're pretty common, so if you want to get a decent physical attacker that's a fighting type only, you can get that around now. Again, that's kind of limited by the fact you can't trade evolve it. And I think that's about all you can find here on the floors you can initially access. You can also access some stuff with strength like there, as we saw. But I don't want to do that because I want to explore this entire area at once we get the ability that allows us to climb some of those weird dotted walls we've seen here and there. This also allows me to showcase a bit of a problem with Johto, sort of. We'll get more into the problem with it as we get towards completing Gym 7, technically. But we do want to come down here and talk to this person, because this person has 2 completely new Pokemon for us, and we're actually technically skipping a stage here. First off, he's going to throw out Nidoking. Nidoking is the final stage of Nidoran Male, that evolves from its previous stage once you use a Moonstone on it. Poison ground type, so it is weak to ground, water, psychic, and ice. Nidoking is very physically minded, I guess more attack minded rather. Its attack stats are higher than its defense stats, but not much higher. It's a surprisingly well balanced mon, in that all of its stats are upwards around the same point, and they're decently high for a 3rd stage. My problem with it is I just prefer the more defensive style of its counterpart, Nidoqueen, which you get by using a Moonstone on Nidoran Female's evolution. This thing is a lot more defensively balanced, but it's still about the same stats as Nidoking. I just prefer Nidoqueen's slight defense edge. Still poison ground, by the way, so still weak to ground, water, psychic, and ice. From memory, I think Nidoqueen might have a slightly better moveset too, but it's been a long time since I used one of them. I like the lines, period. There are worse poison types and worse ground types you can use. At least it doesn't have a 4 times weakness to anything. Like, it takes some very specific types of Pokemon for me to go, yeah, I'm fine with a 4 times weakness. And it's usually the fact that that Pokemon is otherwise very defensively abled or is a very specific playstyle. Defense Curl at level 24? No, thank you. Yes, give up on it. Yeah, it's weird. As long as you're going through the game the way I am, you run into Nidoqueen and Nidoking before the mid-stages. Not much longer before the mid-stages of that line, because we're going to see them maybe in the next 6 minutes or so. But kind of weird. You don't really see Pokemon games jump the shark on evolutions like that too often. Let me demonstrate the power of the Pokemon I caught. This particular fisherman's interesting, because not only does he have a new Pokemon, he's another type that will offer his phone number after battle and give you an item every now and then when he calls you. In particular, he gives you Water Stones, which is very important for how I like to play Pokemon. This, though, is Quillfish. Water poison type, so it is weak to ground, electric, and psychic. Quillfish is pretty physically minded on its stats and is decently fast as well. I remember its moveset being a little weird, and it's a Pokemon that wasn't too good to me until it eventually got its Hisuian form and evolution, because the evolution it did get, I think, is really specific in how you have to use it, but it's honestly a very good Pokemon for me. Only problem is, since it's in the Arceus structured games, I don't know how to feel about it in this type of game because, at this point at least, Scarlet and Violet has still yet to release. And who knows if it'll be available in that. I hope it will be, because if they don't make the Hisuian forms available in the Paldea region, I think is what it's called, it'd be a little weird. Yeah, I should note, we have seen some other trainers at this point that can give you items just for getting a call from them occasionally. Back on the route north of Elex Forest, there's a girl there who can call you to give you leaf stones. And there's also a phone number I didn't get back in the national park where she'll only give you her number if you have, I think, a Meryl in your party. And she'll occasionally give you nuggets when she calls you. There's also things called swarms that they can eventually call you for. And swarms are essentially just, here's a bunch of the Pokemon that we are particular to. And you can catch them around here now. But that only really tends to happen, I think, in post-game? Post-game-ish. Speed up theme for this part, by the way, is the Sonic 3D Blast Saturn version special stage theme. I love that song. It's so funky. Hiker here has a new Pokemon, though. This is Dugtrio. This evolves from Diglett, starting at level 26. Pure ground type like Diglett, so it is weak to water, grass, and ice. Dugtrio is another case of decent physical attacker, but its main stat is its speed. It is, again, still one of the faster Pokemon in the game. I think still, like, top 3rd percentile. I could recommend it for that alone. Additionally, you can get the ability Arena Trap on it, which prevents certain Pokemon from fleeing from you. Not that that's always a threat, but it's enough of a threat that you might want to worry about it down the line. And Pokemaniac Shane has 2 new Pokemon for us. This is Nidorina. This evolves from Nidoran female, starting at level 16. They weirdly should have swapped the 2 Pokemaniacs we fought in the past 10 minutes. Pure poison type, so weak to ground and psychic. Nidorina is more physically minded at this stage. Its defenses are pretty low, as are its speed. But it does get better when it evolves into Nidoqueen, as we've seen before. The big thing is, like with Stone Evolutions, you're going to want to keep a Nidorina or Nidorino around until they learn the moves you want, because otherwise it's TMs, or they're just not learning any more moves after their Stone Evolution. Nidorino, by the way, is the evolution of Nidoran male, so again at level 16. Still pure poison type, so weak to ground and psychic. Nidorino is slightly more attack-based and faster than Nidorina, but again, I just find Nidoqueen to be the better line. Now, you really should have used your Moonstone guy. Obviously, it wouldn't go that well based off what we fought before, but it would have given you a nice buff. And there's a part of that route we technically skipped, but we can't get around that area completely until we have Surf down the line. Welcome to Mahogany Town. Just a souvenir shop. Nothing suspicious about it. Needs to be alarmed. Little weird. Might as well take a look in. It's a weird tree next to it. The experiment looked like a charm. Magikarp are just worthless, but Gyarados are big money makers. What? Huh? You hear wind blowing into this room? That's just me whistling. Enough about that. Why don't you buy something? Alright. That ain't a lot, guy. That's not good stocking. I'm sure there's nothing wrong here. Here's something strange. Really? Well, I guess let's check the Pokegear then. Yeah, that's a weird sound effect. I'm sure that's not important. Alright, let's continue heading east. Hi, kid, I see you're new in Mahogany Town. Since you're new, you should try Yummy Rage Candy Bar. Right now, it can be yours for just 300 Poke. Want one? Sure. Hell yeah. Key items pocket. I remember a person from as far as Kanto came to buy one a long time ago. I happen to have none in stock then. That person left rather upset. Felt kind of sorry for that. Alright, moving on. I don't want to upset you after buying one from me, but buying a Rage Candy Bar has nothing to do with whether I'll allow you to pass through here. Johto has many places to visit, such as the Lighthouse at Olivine and the pharmacy in Cianwood. Why don't you slow down and enjoy sightseeing? This is the biggest case of railroading that Johto has. They do not want you to progress farther east from Mahogany Town until you've done everything to the west of us. Be it Mahogany Town's gym and plot stuff, the stuff to our north over at the Lake of Rage, or anything west of Ecruteak and beyond. The biggest problem of this comes into, by the way, at this point I'm going to show off, I have taught Rock Smash to Rocky, who's in my party now for reasons, and Dove at this point also has Strength. This causes a problem with the levels that's very similar to a problem I talked about back in Fire Red Leaf Green. We'll get more into depth later down the road, though. For now, let's check out this burned tower on the top left of town. Seems like an interesting place to check out. Good music, especially. What's moving down there? That's weird. My name is Yusin. I'm on the trail of a Pokemon named Suicune. And you are... Kyle. Glad to meet you. I heard rumors that Suicune is here, so I came to look. Take a look at the basement through the hole in the floor. There. Suicune is down there. I could go downstairs, but I know it would run away from me in no time. I know. I've tried it many times. Cool story, man. Guess we might as well check out what's down there. By the way, this is me showing off. Again, Dove has Strength. We need that to do full exploration downstairs. Who are you? My name's Morty. I'm Ecruteak's gym leader. Because my old friend Yusin here is on the trail of Suicune, I decided to investigate the burned tower. Ecruteak has a legend about these legendary Pokemon. Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. As the gym leader of Ecruteak, I must have a proper understanding of it. Not now, Mom. Hi there. Oh, it's you. You must be here to catch legendary Pokemon to make yourself look strong. That's only a dream. You see, the legendary Pokemon suits a trainer like me, who's sworn to become the strongest trainer. A battle with Team Rocket Grunts is just right for you. Alright, round 3 against Silver isn't too different from the last time we fought him at the end of Azalea Town. Starting out, he's going to once again throw out his copycat of a Ghastly. Still goes Poison type, still has Levitate, Lick, Confuse Ray, Mean Look, and Curse. Curse, there's potentially the biggest problem, honestly, when it comes to long-term in this fight, as if he hits it on the wrong person that you're trying to do a sweep with, that could go pretty south. Ghastly still weak to Ghost, Psychic, and Dark, by the way. Next up, I believe he's throwing out his Magnemite. That's the new member of his team here. His Magnetite's got Magnet Pull, Thundershock, Supersonic, Sonic Boom, and Thunder Wave, so it can paralyze you and get some good damage and otherwise. Magnet Pull for its ability, by the way, which prevents Steel-type Pokemon from being switched out in battle. If you have a good Fire-type, yeah, probably good to throw this out at this point. You probably might have one at this point, or at least someone that has Fire-type moves. If you didn't choose Cyndaquil, you might have a Vulpix or a Growlithe more than likely, as any other Fire types you can find by this point are kind of piecemeal. Next up, he's going to throw out his Croconaw. Still has Water Gun, Scary Face. Ice Fang is new to its moveset at this point, though, as with Bite. Ice Fang is notably the first Ice-type move I think we've seen in the game at this point, and that has a, I think, like 10% chance of inflicting the Frozen status ailment on you. Despite usually having like the same infliction chances based off the power move that can do it, Frozen is just a very rare status ailment, though. It acts more or less the same as Paralysis. Or I guess Sleep, technically. You just can't move for a few turns. I think you take a little bit of damage. Thank God for Static, though. At this point, my team more or less has a counter for everything he has, so this is not gonna go well for him. And his final Pokemon is once again going to be his Zubat. Still has Inner Focus for its ability, Wing Attack, Supersonic, Astonish, and Bite. Astonish is probably the biggest worry there, barring same type attack bonus, as it can cause you to flinch, which means you're just not going to move that turn, assuming it moves first, and since it is the Zubat line and it's pretty fast, it probably will. A good Thunder Shock to the face, though. It didn't hurt anyone. It did hurt someone, it just didn't hurt anyone on my team. Huh. I'm not fighting with another weakling ever again. Just too much playing around. Sure thing, Edgelord. Sure thing. Whatever. You'd never be able to catch a legendary Pokemon anyway. Bye, Silver. Now, for plot, we're meant to go downstairs, but I want to briefly go around the upper edge outside here, as there's a couple of new Pokemon we can fight, as well as grab some items. Speaking of new Pokemon, this is Raticate. This evolves from Rattata at level 20. Still a pure normal type, so it is weak against fighting immune to Ghost. Raticate is very fast and has a decent attack stat to back that up. The biggest highlight about this Pokemon to me, barring it being normal type, so it has a pretty wide learn load, is that it, I believe, exclusively, barring maybe like one or two other Pokemon, learns the Super Fang ability as it levels up. And that's just a better bite, more or less. I think it does roughly 50% of the opponent, or I guess the target's HP, usually. In the right scenario, Raticate can be very useful. There's just usually better attackers, physically or otherwise, and even then, better, faster attacking Pokemon. That is the case for a lot of Pokemon, I find. There's a lot of cases where a Pokemon can be good for the time in the game you find it, but there's usually just something that'll do what it does better, which is somewhat unfortunate. Because while I do find a lot of Pokemon are viable, there's always going to be those ones that just completely outclass others. And then you get Pachirisus that come in and just take a Draco Meteor to the face. But notably, it's time for Kenny to evolve again. Whenever you level up a Golbat, when its friendship is more or less maxed out, it evolves into Crobat. Crobat is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Still poison flying, so it is weak against rock, electric, psychic, and ice. This Pokemon is absurdly fast and does decent physical damage. The speed alone, though, is what makes me consider this, because it allows me to get a lot of quick hits in that can do a lot of damage with the use of same type attack bonus or otherwise. I love Crobat. It makes raising a Zubat completely worth any problems that that line might have in terms of commonality or otherwise. It's great. Yeah, if you want to get a friendship evolution going, best advice, walk around with them at the top of your party. Use the masseuse at Goldenrod in the tunnel every now and then. Use items on them a lot, things like that. But it's time for yet another new Pokemon. This is Charmeleon. Weirdly, we're seeing the Charmeleon before the Charmander. Evolves from that at level 16, by the way. Pure Fire type, so it is weak to Ground, Rock, and Water. Charmeleon is easily the attacker of the Gen 1 starter trio, and it's pretty good for that. But stat-wise, it's about the same as the Cyndaquil line, except that in its third evolution, or I guess its third form, rather, it gains a subtype, whereas Cyndaquil's line, slight spoilers for when it evolves eventually again, stays pure fire the entire time. But even then, for fire attacking, that's arguably better, as you have the full stab bonus and not the half stab bonus. I used Charmander's line back in Fire Red Leaf Green, and I do whenever I play Gen 1 because I like fire starters more. I like how attack focused they are. It's good. You're just not going to be able to get one of these for a while. In fact, I'd say after you truly beat the game a while. And that's a long while from now. Just think, we're not even 4 badges in and we're almost 10 parts in. This is going to be a long LP. What did I sign myself up for? Oh god. Now, the main reason I did all that is to come over here, and this is also why I have Rocky in my party with Rock Smash. It allows me to grab the few Pokeballs behind rocks in this area, same with downstairs. Pokemon's pretty guilty of this until HM stopped kind of being a thing in Gen 6. There's a lot of times you're like, man, this area is great. Oh, and there's 2 items I need an HM for. Great. Gen 4 proper is probably one of the worst with that, if only because there's just so many HMs and they're all required in some form for navigation. With that said, we're done here in the Burn Tower's top floor, so let's head downstairs. See what's up with those 3 legendaries down here. Howdy ho, guys! Don't hurt me. Okay, bye. Bye. Bye again. Hi. Bye. That was weird. Did you see it? Suicune raced by like a blur right in front of my eyes. I've been chasing Suicune for almost 10 years, but I've never been this close. I'm all choked up. By the way, it was clear to me that Suicune took notice of your presence. Ecruteak's legendary Pokemon are said to come to people only when they recognize their talents. Perhaps I should be more aggressive towards Suicune. Anyway, Kyle, we'll meet again. And thus begins the hellscape. More on that in a few minutes. For now, we want to just go around and grab the items down here. You don't need to do this. Once you've seen that cutscene, you're good to head back upstairs, and that'll progress the plot. I just want to grab the items while I'm here so I don't have to backtrack here down the line. And since I haven't edited past this point yet, because I'm back to doing as I go editing for this particular LP rather than doing what I've been doing for a while now, which is edit the entire series, then commentate over it. I'm genuinely afraid for however long the video might be where I do that lap around Johto that I mentioned for the items. It could be 10 minutes with all the jump cutting. It could be 30. I don't know, and it frightens me. Thankfully, I guess you never need Rock Smash and Strength to get around here, but it definitely helps. Something about this area I think scared me a little bit back in Crystal and Gold Silver. I don't know why, it just did. It's probably just a matter of the different intonation that the chiptune gave the music. But we're done in the Burn Tower, so let's get out of there. 3 big Pokemon ran off in different directions. What were they? Oh boy, here we go. So after seeing that cutscene in Ecruteak's Burn Tower, and if you check the map, Raikou's and Entei's face are now both on the map. I think Entei's below Raikou right now. Gen 2 was the one that introduced what's known as a roaming legendary. Whenever you make a transition from an area, like between different routes, from a town to a route, vice versa, roaming legendaries will move whatever route they're on, usually to one of the ones adjacent until they just decide to teleport. And you need to just hope you're on the right route to catch them. There are tricks to getting them, which we'll cover later down the road, but they are one of the most tedious things in the franchise, and Gen 4 loved them. With that said, now it's time for us to tackle Ecruteak Gym, because the moment you see that cutscene, Morty and Usain both leave. With that said, see if you can spot a problem about this gym as we progress through it. Because every fight here, for one thing, is required, which is a little unusual for the series. Usually at least one fight skippable. But let's see. This fight, we got 5 Ghastlies, Ghost Poisons. Alright, we're used to that. We've had one for most of the LP at this point. But gee, I wonder what the second fight's gonna have, for instance. Let's take a look. We got Haunters. Okay. Another Ghost Poison, same line. Bit weird. Frankly, this gym highlights one of the biggest problems with Johto Pokemon-wise. Whenever they add a new Pokemon to a type, they usually save them for the latter half of the game for some reason. Because there is a new Ghost type in Gen 2, and it's a pure Ghost type too, Misdreavus. But in Johto, all you can find for now is the Gengar line, which isn't even pure Ghost, it's Ghost Poison. That's all the Ghost type was back in Gen 1 as well. They place a lot of Pokemon way too late in the game, and it becomes really apparent the more you just look back at the game's Pokemon setup. I guess maybe it's the fact that they only added 100, so they were unsure on where to place them. By the way, if you fall down this area, you just get teleported back to the beginning and the lights are restored. It just doesn't feel good to me. Gen 3 onwards definitely got Pokemon ratios better overall, I'd say. As I'd say throughout your adventure in Hoenn, you encounter maybe, at the point I'm currently into the streams at least, 20 to 30 Gen 1 and 2 Mon to the vast majority of Hoenn Mon you see in Hoenn. And Gen 3 definitely feels better on a playthrough if you play Gen 1 and 2 because of that. Because you're not seeing as many familiar faces. And Gen 4 definitely took that and ran with it to an extreme, and Gen 5 was just like the perfection of that to me. But now we're at Morty, so make sure you're saved, because this fight can be a nightmare. It's good of you to have come. Here in Ecruteak, Pokemon have long been revered. It's said that a rainbow-hued Pokemon will come down to appear before a truly powerful trainer. I believe that tale, so I've secretly trained here all my life. As a result, I can now see what others cannot. I see a shadow of the person who'll make that Pokemon appear, and I believe that person is me. You're gonna help me reach that level. Alright, Morty can be the second most dangerous gym leader in the game, arguably. Third, if you count a certain one down the line over Whitney. In that, his team can be a little rough. His Ghastly isn't much to write home about. It's just your standard Ghastly, Levitate for its ability, Lick, Spite, Mean Look, and Curse. More or less the same thing as Silver's from a few moments ago. Although Curse, getting inflicted this early on, kinda rough. It's what he tends to throw out either second or third in my experience. That's the really rough part. And here we get to see a good example of how much HP that curse can do. Ooh. Here it is, the big danger. This is his Gengar. Levitate for its ability, holding a citrus berry, hypnosis, shadow ball, mean luck, and sucker punch. This whole thing's deal is that it wants to put you to sleep and then whack you upside the head. Gengar, by the way, is the final evolution of the Ghastly line. Evolves when you trade it. It's still Ghost Poison, still usually has Levitate, if not always has Levitate, so it's weak to Ground, Ghost, Psychic, and Dark, barring that Levitate. It is just a better Ghastly again. Very high special attack, very high speed. Decent special defense, physical stats and HP, not exactly the greatest, but its speed and attack can more than make up for it in the right hands. I love this Pokemon. I just really wish... I've never liked trade evolutions. Even growing up when I had 2 Game Boy Advances in some form and multiple cartridges, I just never liked doing it. And I'm kind of glad that at least in Arceus they had the Link Cord item so you didn't have to worry about trading, and I'm wondering if they're going to keep that item moving forward, just make it a little rarer to get so you don't have to worry about trading with people. But I somewhat doubt that just because Arceus was a very specific case. Next up, though, he's sending out one of his 2 Haunters. This is the lower leveled one. This might have lower stats than the Gengar, but it's arguably more dangerous because it has the moves Hypnosis and Dream Eater. Dream Eater does high damage to Pokemon that are asleep. Same with Nightmare, same with Curse. That Pokemon's designed to kill. Maybe even kill you even after you've, say, cursed his own Gengar to death. His level 23 Haunter, though, isn't much to write home about. Still has Levitate, Curse, Mean Look, Sucker Punch, and Nightshade. Sucker Punch is potentially dangerous there because that is, I believe, a first move that can cause you to flinch. And, well, it's Dark type, so that's not good against Ghosts in my case. Whoops. Morty can be a wall just for his Gengar and lower-leveled Haunter. But I'd say overall, Whitney's definitely the harder fight just because that's such a sudden wall in that rollout Miltank. Still, bring your best. Maybe be a little higher level than me, maybe... I think you could technically ignore this gym for a little bit and go do the routes to the sides first before progressing on, and I'd almost recommend doing that. We've got more discipline than anyone else. Sure thing, Morty. Enough type advantages, enough time, enough levels, and you should beat him eventually. Which, mind you, is a lot about Pokemon right there in a sentence. How is this possible? Easy. I hit you harder. I don't think our potentials are so different, but you seem to have something more than that. So be it. The badge is yours. Fog badge, get 4 down, 4 to go. By having the Fog badge, Pokemon up to level 50, including traded Pokemon, will obey you. Also, Pokemon will be able to use Surf. Here's another thing. I want you to have this, too. It's Shadow Ball. It causes damage and may reduce special defense. Use it if it appeals to you. And I will. I don't teach it immediately, but I do eventually put that on Mortis because it's a good special attack move for the Ghastly line to have. As in general, it just really takes good advantage of their stats. But we're now done in Ecruteak, so it's time for us to head west since we've already gone as east as we can for now. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, we're going to head west of Ecruteak to see what lies ahead of us. See you guys then.